Hello students, welcome to our second video of class 8 history, our part 3, chapter 3, ruling the countryside. In our previous video, we have seen the revenue policies of the company. Today, we will see how the British persuaded or forced cultivators in various parts of India to produce cash crops that proved to be disastrous for the Indian peasants. So let us begin. The British not only changed the existing land revenue system of the country but also changed drastically the nature of production and the items produced. Earlier, the village production was meant to fulfill the needs of the people of the village, but the British now started producing for the needs of market. The objective of this production was to sell the goods in the market. Under this system, the peasants started growing some specialized crops. This system was known as Commercialization of Agriculture. As a result of industrialization, England's need for raw materials increased. Hence, the British economic policies in India started being governed by the needs of the British industries. Hence, the area of cultivation of such cash crops as indigo, cotton, tea, opium, rice, jute, sugarcane expanded. Plantations were completely under the British control. The Indian peasants were paid very little wages. The owners of the plantation, called the planters, were all Englishmen who exploited the peasants very much. The British used a variety of methods to expand the cultivation of crops that they needed. Let us take a closer look at the story of one such crop, one such method of production. Okay, let me ask you a question. Does color have a history? Have you ever imagined that a color can have history? Let us see here. Here are two images of cotton print. The image on the top shows a kalamkari print created by weavers of Andhra Pradesh in India. At the bottom, there is a floral cotton print designed and produced by William Morris, a famous poet and artist of 19th century from Britain. There is one thing common in the two prints. Both use a rich blue color commonly called indigo. Do you know how this color was produced? The blue that you see in this print was produced from a plant called indigo. It is likely that the blue dye used in the Morris print in 19th century Britain was manufactured from indigo plants cultivated in India. For India was the biggest supplier of indigo in the world at that point of time. Indigo is a natural dye which is used by cloth manufacturers to dye clothes. Since the color produced by indigo was rich and bright, indigo was preferred by dyers. By the end of the 18th century, the demand for indigo grew in Britain, while its production in other parts of the world fell day by day. Cloth dyers in Britain required large supplies of indigo, and for this purpose they turned to India. The company in India looked for ways to expand the area under indigo cultivation. With manifold increase in the import of indigo from India to Britain, agents and officials of the company began investing in indigo production. Attracted by the high profits from indigo, some of them came to India after quitting their jobs and became planters. They either bought land or rented it from other zamindars and produced indigo by employing hired laborers. There were two main systems of indigo cultivation. One was the niche system and the other was the rite system. Within the system of niche cultivation, the planters produced indigo in lands that he directly controlled. He either bought the land or rented it from other zamindars and produced indigo by directly employing hired laborers. Although there was a problem with niche cultivation, the planters found it difficult to expand the area under niche cultivation. Indigo could be cultivated only on fertile land, and these were all already densely populated. Only small plots scattered over the landscape could be acquired. Planters needed large areas in compact blocks to cultivate indigo in plantations. Where could they get such land from? Now let us see about the rite system. Under the rite system, the planters hold the rights to sign a contract, an agreement that is called satta. At times, they pressurize the village headmen to sign the contract on behalf of the riots. Those who sign the contract got cash advances from the planters at low rates of interest to produce indigo, but the loan committed the riot to cultivating indigo on at least 25% of the area under this holding. The planter provided the seed and drill, while the cultivators prepared the soil and sowed the seed and looked after the crop. When the crop was delivered to the planter after the harvest, a new loan was given to the riot, and the cycle started all over again. Peasants who were initially tempted by the loans soon realized how harsh the system was. The price they got for indigo they produced was very low, and the cycle of loans never ended. There were other problems too. The planters usually insisted that indigo be cultivated on the best soils in which peasants preferred to cultivate rice. Indigo, moreover, had deep roots and it exhausted the soil rapidly. After an indigo harvest, the land could not be sown with rice. This is an image of an indigo factory in Bengal. Now let us see the problem with indigo cultivation. The price that the riots got for their labor was very low. The cycle of loans never ended. The cultivation of indigo exhausted the fertility of the soil rapidly. As a result, after an indigo harvest, rice could not be sown on that land. Consequently, thousands of riots in Bengal refused to grow indigo. Those peasants who still worked for the planters were socially boycotted, and this resulted in the Indigo Rebellion. Riots armed with swords and spears, bows and arrows attacked indigo factories. They refused to pay rents to the planters. They were the agents of planters known as gomastas and swore not to take advances from them in future. Women also participated actively in protest. It was the intensely oppressive nature of indigo system that was at the root of the rebellion. However, they expected support from local zamindars, intellectuals as well as the British government. Zamindars were unhappy with the increasing power of planters and were also annoyed at being forced by them to give them their land on long leases. With the spread of rebellion, intellectuals from Calcutta rushed to the indigo districts. They wrote about the miseries of the riots, the tyranny of the planters and the horrors of the indigo cultivation system. The famous Bengali author Dinabandhu Mitra wrote a play called Neel Darpan depicting the plight of the riots and exposing the planters' oppression. The British government also felt concerned, especially after the revolt of 1857. They were afraid of another such big rebellion again. Finally, being afraid of a rebellion and moved by the powerful campaign led by the intelligentsia of Bengal, the British government appointed the Indigo Commission in 1860. The commission inquired about the entire situation and held the planters guilty of gross abuses of power. The commission also criticized them for the oppression and the coercive methods used by them against the cultivators. It set the cultivators free from the obligation to renew the contract after fulfilling the existing one. As a result, the indigo production collapsed in Bengal. The planters now made Bihar the center of indigo cultivation. After his return from South Africa, Mahatma Gandhi visited Champaran to see the indigo cultivators' plight. His visit marked the beginning of the Champaran movement against the indigo planters. Let us summarize what we have learned today. The company wanted the Indian farmers to grow cash crops like opium, tea, sugarcane, indigo, etc. Indigo was in high demand all over the world because of the rich blue color that it produced. There were two main systems of indigo cultivation, the niche system and the righty system. Let us see what you have grasped today. Here are some questions for you. Your question number 1 is, which plant produces a rich blue color dye? And your options are A. Rice, B. Indigo, C. Bamboo, D. Opium. And the correct answer is B. Indigo. Your next question is, when was the Indigo Commission set up? And the options are A. 1857, B. 1858, C. 1860 or D. 1861. And the correct answer is C. 1860. Your next question is, after the collapse of indigo plantation in Bengal, the planters moved to, and the options are A. Calcutta, B. Bombay, C. Ahmedabad, or D. Champaran? The correct answer is D. Champaran. It's practice time now, and here is some homework for you. Your first question is, what were the two main types of system of indigo cultivation? Your next question is, why were rats reluctant to grow indigo? And your third question is, what were the circumstances which led to the eventual collapse of indigo production in Bengal? In our next video, we will move to social and political life 3. Till then, take care of yourself, stay home, stay safe. Thank you.